Good evening. We will now open the floor for input from the public on the 2025-2026 budget. The public's interest in the budget has been remarkable. Please be advised that the board has scheduled 30 minutes for tonight's input session. However, the number of people signed up to speak have exceeded the allotted time. Therefore, individuals will be called to speak in the order in which they signed up. Once we reach the allotted time, the remaining individuals on the list will have the opportunity to speak during public participation segment of tonight's regular board meeting. The regular board meeting will begin at 6:30 p.m. I sincerely apologize if this presents an inconvenience, and I'm hopeful that everyone who doesn't get an opportunity to speak during the budget input session will remain during this 6:30 p.m. board meeting, as the board is interested in hearing your input. Please be reminded, when your name is called, please come to the microphone and push the button. You will be given 3 minutes to address the board. To assist with timing, the lights on the table in front of me will change colors from green to yellow to red. When you have 30 seconds remaining, the light will turn yellow. When your time is up, the light will turn red and you will hear a tone indicating your time to speak has expired. With that being said, we will get started. And the first name, and let me just apologize in advance if I mispronounce your name. The first person is Daquita Pickett Delacroix. Delacroix, beautiful. Pickett.
Good afternoon. My name is Ms. Pickett, and I am a librarian assistant. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. I like to be brief and straight to the point on why I'm standing here in front of you. We received a step increase, but I was left with questions. I've worked in a school district for going on 10 years. I also hold a BA degree in communications. I am making the same amount as someone who has been in the district for 4 years or may not hold a 4-year degree. I know when filling out applications and on interviews, they do look at experience and college degrees. I even was told after an interview that my interview was great and my qualifications were good, but the only reason why I didn't get the position was because the other person had more experience. So if that plays a big part, why aren't we paid for having the experience and the college degrees? Assistants are one of the lowest paid in the school district, I believe, but we hold the most job titles, or should I say duties. We are like octopuses. Our body represents the job titles we got hired for. For example, I am a librarian assistant, and my 8 arms are the other duties that I do. For example, I'm a sub. I fill in when teachers need to hold conference for a class period. I'm a test monitor, and etc. I sometimes wonder what would schools do or how they would operate if there were no assistants. Lastly, when subs call out or a teacher isn't able to get a sub, the students are farmed out and classroom teachers get $25 extra for taking the farm out students. But when assistants get called to cover a class, there's no extra pay for us. Why can't we get extra for covering a class for the day? I'm not a classroom aide, but a library assistant who has to leave her duties to do a different job. I'm not complaining because I love what I do. I love the school that I'm at, and I have an awesome admin team and coworkers. I don't mind doing other duties, and I'm glad to be able to assist when I'm asked. And I'm sure other assistants don't mind doing it either, but we would like to be compensated for it. So I'm asking you to please think about us, the assistants, when it comes to the budget, and help us receive more pay and to be compensated for filling in as subs for the day. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you, Ms. Pickett. And if you could hold your applause to the end, because that's going to take away time that other folks can get up here to speak, if you don't mind. We'll now go to Anna Parrish, Dr. Anna Parrish.
Good evening. Last year around this time, I came to one of the budget meetings advocating for much needed change in my caseload numbers as a multilingual program specialist. I emphasized the importance of using funding to hire additional personnel to help alleviate extremely high numbers. And this time, I'm returning to say thank you for hearing my voice and responding with funding for those much-needed positions within the Multilingual Program Department for 24-25. I also want to share some of the impact that you made with your decision to ensure that there are enough MLP specialists to allow for reasonable caseloads for MLP teachers. Our reason for being here is for the students, and I can say without reservation that your decision has resulted in many positive outcomes for our students, particularly in reading and writing. For example, among my 12 kindergartners who entered this school year, many not knowing any English, all of these students are beginning to read at this point in time. They are also able to write sentences with some support. I have been able to group students by their appropriate grade levels, which has resulted in students being able to receive the maximum amount of support and the very best instruction. Overall access testing time has been reduced from a month of testing to a little over 2 weeks, and this has preserved hours and days of instructional time. Please continue to support our multilingual students who have both incredible giftings, but also need support in English language instruction in order to succeed. Again, thank you for hearing my voice last year, and I look forward to sharing many more stories of our student success.
Thank you, Dr. Perez. Talia Smith. Talia Smith. With SOAR. She's not here. Okay, we will move to the next. Abby Cobb.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Moore, and honorable board members. My name is Abby Cobb. I am the district's coordinator of social work. It's an honor here to stand as the leader of the best group of social workers in the state. I would like to recognize my school social work staff who are here to stand. I am here to advocate on the need to increase the number of school social work positions. Currently, we have a total of 23 social workers. We have a full-time social worker at each of our high schools, full-time at 5 out of our 7 middle schools, and then all other schools only receive part-time social work services. According to national standards, the recommended ratio is 1 school social worker to every 250 students. Our current average is 1 to 1,354 students. Since 2012, we've added a total of 3 school social work positions. This includes the opening of new schools, which social workers are not a part of the staffing pattern. Last year, the board approved to sustain 2 social work positions that were created using COVID relief funds. We are thankful for these 2 positions, which were sustained, and it allowed us to keep full-time social work services at most of our middle schools. However, we need more. All of our social workers are licensed master social workers, LMSWs. A master's in social work prepares individuals to serve as trained mental health providers with clinical skills to provide counseling, crisis intervention, and overall mental health support by working with individuals or in a group setting or working with the entire family. Currently, 9 of our staff have their independent clinical license or are in the process of obtaining it. In addition, I'm very proud, over 50% of our staff have been in their roles more than 10 years. I am here to tell you we have highly qualified staff. It's important to understand all of this as we know the mental health needs of our students have increased. In fact, the mental health needs of our adults and our support staff have increased. Our social workers are vital to addressing those needs. Social workers have a unique understanding of working with vulnerable populations, particularly families living in poverty. As you've seen in our data reports, poverty is the highest indicator for student achievement. We all know poverty is not an excuse for achievement, but it is a barrier that must be addressed. Our social workers are equipped to conduct needs assessment and align resources. We cannot meet the full needs of our students and families when the majority of our schools are only receiving part-time social work services. We know that our poverty rates are going to continue to increase, but we have not addressed that with the needs of our staff, our social work staffing. Please know I can hire social workers. They are in the community and they wish to work in the schools. On behalf of the school social work team, we are respectively asking to increase the number of social work positions. By adding just 3 positions, we will have 6 schools that can have a full-time social worker. I'm confident we'll continue to do what we need to do, but we can have a greater impact by increasing our services. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Next, we will have Joanna Schenk.
Sorry. Good evening, esteemed board members and Superintendent Dr. Moore. My name is Joanna Schenke. I'm a Richland 2 parent first, and I happen to be one of the lead psychologists in Richland 2 as well. I'm here to advocate on behalf of our students and our families, and in doing so, advocating for the preservation of our comprehensive psychological services that we do provide to our students. We believe that our psychological services are critical in helping students succeed academically, socially, and emotionally. We address behavioral concerns, academic challenges, and mental health needs, all of which have been a priority of Richland 2. According to our national standards, the recommended ratio is 1 psychologist for every 500 students. Right now, we're well over double that ratio. Looking at next year, we're projected to be severely understaffed. We're pushing that ratio even higher, and we currently employ 5 working retirees. I'm not here to ask for growth positions because the reality is there's a nationwide shortage of school psychologists. It's not just a local issue. The number of vacancies far exceeds the number of students that are graduated into the field every year. For example, in South Carolina alone, our programs are only graduating approximately 30 new psychologists into the field. If we have 7 current vacancies in our school district alone and 5 working retirees, it makes it very hard to compete for those positions. We believe that the comprehensive role of school psychologists is essential. To maintain this role, some ways that we have talked about to support our staff is ways to reduce our non-clinical tasks, such as our paperwork and our clerical support. We believe by advocating for clerical support for our staff, it will not only help us, but also our special education teachers. Another solution to maintaining the comprehensive services that we do provide is to consider financial incentives to recruitment and retention. Like I said, there's a nationwide shortage. We're not only competing against other school districts in our state, but we're up against contract agencies who offer higher pay and workload limits. We're asking our current psychologists to get the job done no matter what it takes. And like I said, right now we're well over the ratio, almost double that, and projected to be severely understaffed next year. We believe in providing the services to address the whole child, not just the legally mandated services that we're here to provide. And so we believe in advocating for additional support staff to support what we do to open up time to provide direct services to students, as well as financial incentives so we can recruit the best talent that we have so our district continues to be future ready to support all of our students. I'd love to share more about what those comprehensive psychological services are, but I only have 3 minutes. So with the support of our Executive Director of Learning Support Services, I'd love to follow up with something via email, but I'd like to get his support first. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Amy Whitfield. Amy Whitfield, okay. And team.
Good evening, Dr. Scott, members of the board, Dr. Moore. Thank you for this opportunity to present vital information for Richland 2 school libraries in regards to consideration for the 25-26 district budget. My name is Amy Whitfield. This is my 34th year as a teacher, my 23rd year as a school librarian. It is also my 23rd year serving the students, parents, teachers, and Richland 2 community. I'm the lead librarian at Blythewood High School, and I also serve as the district representative for secondary school libraries. Richland 2 school librarians are sharing a handout of information with you tonight that includes school library spotlight data that gives us cause to celebrate libraries and the dedicated school librarians who are charged with managing them. A budget comparison based on data from the 23-24 South Carolina School Library Survey, a timeline of library budget history in Richland 2, and a visual representation of the multifaceted process that school librarians use to build and maintain quality school library collections. My colleagues will share more details about each document in a few moments. The school librarians respectfully request consideration of a per-pupil allocation for the purchase of library books. A per-pupil allocation will ensure that all district libraries are funded equitably and at an adequate level to allow every student in Richland 2 to enjoy the benefits of a distinguished school library program. Research shows a direct correlation between student achievement and exemplary school library programs. An effective school library supports a school's instructional program, extends and enhances student learning beyond the textbook, and serves as the information center of a school community. The school library is central to the objective that all students are college and career ready, and to encouraging students to develop information-seeking skills exhibited by lifelong learners. For the past 4 years, school libraries have depended on our principals for the purchase of books. We appreciate each and every principal who has set aside a portion of their discretionary budget for their library program, but their budgets only go so far as they have to cover all the needs of an entire school. Without my own principal, Matt Sherman, who is extremely supportive of our library, we would not have been able to maintain the library collection to the level it is. However, the current level of funding is not sufficient to position Richland II libraries to be distinguished by South Carolina library standards. The 23-24 school library survey shows that Richland II ranks 56th out of 63 school districts in per pupil funding for books. We're below the state average and well behind neighboring districts. A high-quality library collection requires consistent annual funding. The library budget is a key component of collection development and is dependent on the support of our board as well as district and school administrators. Thank you again for this opportunity and for careful consideration of a per-pupil allocation in the district budget for the purchase of library books.
Thank you so much. Cindy Simmons?
Simons?
Yes. Do you guys want to defer your time since you were with that group to allow others, or how many more of you guys that's speaking up there?
Is it okay if we just do snippets? Would that be okay?
I think that would be a great way to share with your
Okay.
colleagues in here. Thank you
All right.
so much. See, that's why I love my media specialists. Thank you so much.
So I want to thank everyone for listening to us this evening. My name is Cindy Simons. I'm the media specialist at Round Top Elementary. This is my 22nd year in the district. I am the elementary compatriot to Amy. And I just want to give you sort of a snapshot of what we do on a daily basis. So on average, I see somewhere between 25 and 30 classes per week, and that equals about 250 to 300 kids. I typically do somewhere around 150 checkouts per day. So library media specialists are critical needs in our state, nationwide, but particularly in our state. As a group, we check out over 300,000 library books just between August and February of this year, and that's books, not ebooks. The ebooks are in addition to that. As a group, we hold 44 master's degrees and 3 doctorates. We have 12 media specialists who have been Teachers of the Year. Currently, Effie Holden at E.L. Wright and Tabitha Glover at North Springs are Teachers of the Year, and 8 of us are currently nationally board certified or recertified, and 2 of us are currently working on submitting proposals. We are very talented and skilled at what we do, and it's not an easy job. Our collection currently holds over 350,000 volumes in Richland, too. So there's so much more I could tell about our group, but I want to give time to the next person.
Good evening, Dr. Scott, board members, and Dr. Moore. My name is Jennifer Bartel Boykin. I'm a school librarian at Muller Road Middle School. I've been in the district for 10 years, and I've been an educator primarily as an English teacher for about 17 years. Today, I'm going to talk to you all about the handout that has the school library budget comparison with the blue bar graphs. So according to the 2023-24 South Carolina Library Survey, Richland II's average per pupil spending for the library is one of the lowest in the state. The South Carolina state average per pupil, and this is South Carolina average, is $14.10. Neighboring Richland 1 has $32.03. Fairfield County has $37.89 per pupil, and the average per pupil for Richland 2 is $4.44. $4.44. Amy already talked about how we ranked 56 out of 63 districts, 60 districts throughout the state, but there is good news on that survey. Richland 2 has one of the highest per pupil circulation rates in the state. What that means is that our children, our students are checking out books and that they are avid readers. So our Richland 2 libraries are not funded equally. 8 school libraries in our district receive no funds from the school or district during the 23-24 school year for the purchase of books, which forces school librarians to fundraise through grants, book fairs, et cetera. I do want to send a shout out also to my school principal who has funded our library budget, Dr. Brandon Ross. Collection development or adding and maintaining books in our library requires consistent annual funding.
We're going to have you stop right there so you
Okay.
can share the love with your colleagues.
Thank you.
So, did you guys all sign up that's standing there? Okay, so I'll go through my list. Okay, so I'll just go through the list. LaToya Davis. Well, hold on, LaToya, let me see. Wendy, is Wendy with this group? No, ma'am. Morgan? Okay, hold on, Morgan. Jennifer?
I just spoke.
Okay, Jennifer, so I can check you off on here. Crystal? Okay. Cortina? Okay, she's over there. Emace Andrews? That's a different one, okay. Greer? She's with that group. And Cynthia? No, she's over there. Lauren? Is Lauren with this group? Okay, Kathy? Yeah. Kathy is your last. Okay, good. So we'll let you guys just line up, and then we'll come back in that order. Okay, since you're already standing. Okay.
Madam Chairman, I signed up as well.
Are you a media specialist?
Glenda Green?
Oh, Glenda, I see you on here. She told me Kathy was the last one.
We thought she was.
Okay, I see my church member up there. Okay, we got you. Okay, so we'll let you guys go ahead since you're standing. Now show the love, okay? Okay, thank you.
Okay, good evening, Dr. Scott and board members and Dr. Moore. I'm Crystal Smith. I'm one of the media specialists at Blythewood High School. I've been there since it opened, and I've been in education for 1,000 years. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I'm here to advocate for consistent annual funding of our libraries as we take a look at the district's funding of libraries in the past. So you have a timeline that looks like this. If you look at the timeline in the library packet, you'll notice in green years 2008 to 2011. In year 2020, libraries were fully funded by the district at $26 and $25 per student, respectively, which is approximately 1 book per student. The budget allocation was started in 2008 because of the inequity of funding of libraries across the district. This full funding was great. Thank you very much. However, if you notice in orange are the years that the libraries got no funding or money allocated by the district, and the funding was strictly at the discretion of the principal. I want to thank Mr. Sherman and all the other principals who saw the importance of their libraries and chose to fund their libraries during those years. And that's 2012 through 2014, 2016 through 2019, 2021 to present, when they were not required to fund us, but they did it anyway. If you'll notice in yellow, in 2015, we got a special allocation of $10,000 per student, and then in 2021, we got some ESSER funds of $2,778 per school, which equals approximately 165 books per school. But if we were at Blythewood High School and we received full funding, that would be 2,153 books. So we're about a $2,000 book short of that funding. So from 2008 to now, we've had 6 years where we have received at least some funding from the district, and 11 years where we received no funding at all. In fact, from 2011 to 2020, there was no funding at all, and there was a 9-year stretch except for the partial allocation of $10 per student in 2015. We all know that students typically who read are successful in school, college, and beyond. And while our students may have access to digital resources, they want a physical book. And so they keep coming to our library and they keep reading, but we want to keep them reading with new books if possible. We certainly appreciate any consideration you can give us for this budget request.
And I'm going to have to stop right there and actually go through my list because I was really enjoying this so much. I didn't realize the time had gotten away, and there were some people who actually signed up before you guys. So let me just go back to my list. LaToya Davis. Okay. LaToya, is LaToya here? Okay, we have to give LaToya an opportunity.
Is it the one that says,
It's on already.
oh, okay, thank you. So my name is Latoya Davis, and I am a parent of 2 Richland 2 students. If someone wronged you or even me, we would be able and capable to speak up and tell. What about those who are not able to speak or fully tell what happened or even what someone did to them? With that being said, it would be vital to use a portion of the budget to help those who are not able to speak up, which make them the most vulnerable within any school district. Cameras being placed inside of the pre-K and all special needs classrooms, that's elementary, middle, and high, would give them the voice that they need in times of need. Too many times, even within this district, pre-K and special needs students have found themselves victims of abuse and/or neglect at the hands of those they are supposed to be able to trust, people like their teachers, the assistants, and even at times by their classmates when they are not being properly watched. Oftentimes, those who are doing it are not able to be adequately held accountable because the child is unable to tell, due to them being more so nonverbal. Changes in their behavior and/or mannerisms towards the individual speak volumes. However, unfortunately, that's not enough. The child who had to endure it all will have to hope that another teacher or aide will be willing to speak up, or that there's footage that could be provided of what took place. Their disability should not be used against them, nor should it deter them from being able to get justice or being able to feel safe within their own classrooms. Cameras being placed within the pre-K and special needs classrooms with no blind spots will provide safety for all, especially those who need someone or something to be their voice. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you so much. Wendy Sanchez, is Wendy here? Okay, Morgan Batiste. And team.
Excuse me. Good evening, Board Chair, members of the Board, Superintendent Dr. Moore. My name is Morgan Israel Batiste, and I am here tonight as a Richland 2 Speech-Language Pathologist, or SLP. I am a proud graduate of Richland District 2, and I have been serving our community, our students, and families for the past 8 years. My purpose today is to continue pushing the conversation forward regarding compensation for SLPs in the district and to advocate for the profession I love as a whole. Your Richland 2 Speech Department is comprised of professionals that pride themselves on the quality of service that we provide to our students every day. We conduct evaluations, manage caseloads, and provide speech services to students. We're the only professionals in the district that perform all 3 of these major responsibilities. As you know, our current pay scale is reflective of a teacher's salary. However, we are not speech teachers. We are speech-language pathologists. We are communication specialists. We are trained clinicians and diagnosticians. We help kids talk back, but we do so much more than that. We help them find their voice. We help them express their ideas, their wants and needs. We pour into our students, and our services impact their academic and social-emotional development. Unfortunately, our salaries have become a major barrier to maintaining the positive impact we provide for our students. Our current salary makes it difficult to recruit and retain highly qualified SLPs. Very few graduate students are considering the school setting, with pay being a major factor, while other settings offer a significantly higher pay rate. Richland 2 was once a highly sought-after district and market for SLPs looking to enter into the school setting, though this has changed over the years, with little incentives attracting SLPs like competitive salaries or lower workloads. The number of students with identified disabilities has increased, and so have their level of needs, while the number of SLP positions have stayed the same, with some positions remaining vacant. We hold at minimum a master's degree, have completed over 400 hours of clinical clock hours, complete required CEUs to maintain a South Carolina state license, maintain our National Association's letters of clinical competence, and hold a South Carolina teaching certificate. We ask that we be compensated for the professionals that we are and align our salaries with our allied health professionals, OT, PT, and psychologists, and compensated on a similar scale at either a higher degree classification or on a separate pay scale. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. And I just want to see Crystal Smith. Crystal spoke. So we have come to the time where we need to conclude. the allotted time for public input on the 2025-2026 budget. Thank you to those who came out to share their thoughts on the upcoming budget. We will now move on to the next agenda item, 2.1, call to order. And as I stated earlier, if you're on this list, please feel free to stay for the first public participation, which starts at 6:30, and we'll be more than happy to hear your input. Good evening. I call the March 25th, 2025 regular board meeting of the Richland 2 Board of Trustees to order. The item for tonight's meeting has been published and made available. May I please have a motion regarding the approval of the agenda?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Porter?
I move to approve the agenda for the March 25th, 2025 board meeting.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Porter. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Porter and seconded by Mr. Dennis. To approve the agenda, is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, board members, please vote. Yeah, you had to pause. The motion is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. We will now move to item 4.1, executive session. May I please have a motion regarding the executive session?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Washington?
I move to convene an executive session for the purpose of discussing a receipt of legal advice for a litigation update, receipt of a legal advice for a litigation matter regarding legal services, for student appeals, a contractual matter regarding external auditing services, and employment recommendations and certified releases.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Washington. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Washington and seconded by Mr. Trapp. Is there a second? I'm sorry. Is there any discussion? Board members, any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. The board will now enter into executive session. May I have a motion to end executive session?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Trapp?
I move that we adjourn to executive session at 6:17 PM and resume public session.
The motion has been made by Mr. Trapp. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mr. Trapp and seconded to end executive session at 6:17 PM and seconded by Mr. Dennis. Is there any discussion? Board members, any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Did everyone get a pop-up? If not, let's go ahead and take a hand vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. Miss- 7 yes, okay, 7 yes, 0 no, the motion passes. We will now move to item 5.1, inspirational moment, Pledge of Allegiance. We'll now turn it over to Mrs. Shelley Williams, who will present this evening.
Tonight, we have the pleasure of Janelle Butler. She's a compassionate, dedicated, licensed professional counselor and the founder of COPE, with Janelle's LLC, with a strong belief in the power of healing and personal growth. Janelle provides a safe and nurturing environment for individuals seeking support through life challenges, including grief, anxiety, and personal development. With several years of experience, the mental health field, Janelle embodies evidence-based therapeutic approaches tailored to meet the unique needs of her clients. She is committed to empowering individuals to cope with their struggles, fostering resilience, and encourage self-discovery. Prior to branching out to public practice, she gained extensive experience in group and individual counseling, career and academic achievements, crisis intervention, and loss and grief counseling. By serving as a school counselor for 17 years, the majority which was served in Richland 2. Janelle has established herself as a calming presence and a skilled, helpful professional, known for her innovation approach and ability to multitask. She seamlessly balances the roles of supervisor, counselor, and educator, creating a nurturing environment for growth and healing. Whether at school environment, private practice, or even as a mother of two and a wife of a pastor and an educator, her focus remains the same: to help others cope, which is climb over problems every day. Let's welcome Ms. Janelle Butler.
The corner? No? Okay, that's fine. Great evening, everyone, to the board. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much, Madam Williams. Is that too much, Madam Williams? Okay, thank you so much, Madam Williams, for that wonderful introduction. And to all of the people, I am not going to be before you long, but I do want to be able to give you all a moment of inspiration, if we can take a moment of some mindfulness. We are in a time in our world where lots of uncertainty is around us, and it causes us to have lots of anxiety at different times, to feel uneasy and unsettled. And so, if not for every moment of the day, we can at least take this one moment to at least allow ourselves to be in the present, where we know where we are, we know what we stand for in this very moment, we know how we're feeling in this very moment, and we can connect with one another to just simply exist as human beings in one body together. So what I would like to do is a practice that I often do with my clients. I work with children from the youngest age of 6 all the way up to the bigger children, the 88s and so on and so forth. I do have a mother, an 88-year-old mother that's on my caseload, and she comes faithfully every month to get her good therapy, because everyone needs a couch. Everybody needs their own couch, including myself. And so I have a couch. If we can, we're going to do something that I like to do with my clients that allows us all to be proactive with our minds. Our minds right now are filled with receiving information, whether it's on the news, whether it's through social media, through peers, through family, through friends. We are always receiving information, and our mind does with it what it will. However, our minds are very proactive. We can tell our minds to do something, and it will do something. Everyone right now, think of a number. Did you tell your mind to think of a number? Did it do it? Your mind will do whatever you tell it to do. So we're going to tell our minds to do something that will help us throughout our days, especially when we are feeling stressed, when we're feeling overwhelmed, when we're having more thoughts than we have time to divide and prioritize. We're going to tell our minds what we want it to do. And right now, we are simply going to tell our minds to spell our names backwards. Janelle, what are you talking about? Follow me, good people. Follow me. This is called an exercise called Do It Backwards. In your head, I want you to tell yourself to spell your last and your first name backwards. Begin. Were you thinking about anything else but your mind, but your name? Not a thing. If you tried to think about the bills or the groceries or anything, if you tried to think about that test, you would fail with doing so because that is something that our mind does not usually do. But if you give your mind a focus, it will block out everything else. Do y'all remember back in the day that old game called the Etch-a-Sketch? Where you used to draw on it, you move the little wheels around, the little things, and it makes a picture, right? And what happens when you shake it? The picture disappears. What you can do with your mind by doing a grounding activity such as do it backwards is you can etch-a-sketch your brain from whatever is ailing you in that moment, from whatever is causing you immense anxiety, from what is causing you to feel overwhelmed. You can actually etch-a-sketch your brain in that moment with do it backwards. Do I have 1 more minute, Saints? Okay. I don't want to take up too much time. I'm married to a pastor, but I don't want to be one that is long-winded. Amen. Hallelujah. So I want to do one more with you. And since we have so many children in here, it's just befitting that we do something called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 colors. Because even broken crayons still work. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 colors is merely another grounding activity in which we do to reset and etch-a-sketch our brain, okay? So I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose for a count of 4 and blow out slowly from your mouth for a count of 7. In through your nose for 4 again. Blow out slowly from your mouth for 7. And one last time, in through your nose and out for 7. Now where you are, with your eyes only, God bless you, that beep almost tried to get me. I'm gonna be a pastor for a second. With your eyes open, I want you to let your eyes fall on 5 shades of blue. Just let your eyes fall on 5 shades of blue. Now 4 shades of green. 3 shades of gray. 2 shades of red. And now 1 shade of pink. While you were looking for the colors, you again were not thinking of anything else but the colors. If at any point in time while you're feeling overwhelmed, please make sure you take a mindfulness moment to either do it backwards or give yourself permission to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 colors. Thank you so much for indulging me. If everyone would stand for the pledge at this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you so much, First Lady Butler. Do appreciate that. We will now move to item 6.1, consent agenda. May I please have a motion regarding the approval of the consent agenda?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Trapp?
I move to approve the consent agenda for the March 25th, 2025 regular board meeting.
The motion has been made by Mr. Trapp. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mr. Trapp and seconded by Mrs. Nash. Is there any discussion? Board members, any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. We will now move to item 7.1, public participation. 7 individuals have signed up to address the board. You will be given 3 minutes to address the board. To assist with timing, the lights in front of me, in front of the table, will change colors from green to yellow to red. You have 30 seconds remaining when it turns to red. The light before you. When your time is up, the light will turn red and you will hear a tone indicating your time to speak has expired. Before we begin, I will remind you that our meetings are streamed live and recorded. According to policy BEDH, comments from the public should not include gossip, defamatory words, or abusive language. The policy also prohibits in public session any expression of personal complaints about individual school personnel or any other person connected with the school system. Specific student or personnel issues should be handled through the appropriate procedure as indicated in the district policy. Questions asked during public participation typically will be referred to staff members for response at a later time. We will now begin with the first person who signed up, Kentara Ricketts.
Good evening, members of the board and Madam Superintendent. My name is Curtina Ricketts, and I am a member of the North Springs Elementary School Improvement Council. Out of all elementary schools in the district for the 2023-2024 school year, North Springs had the lowest scores in 2 categories: student participation rate at 82.6%, and factors of school climate, student perception of safety, 5.36 out of 10. The school ranked in the bottom of 5 categories: student progress, overall percentage of progress points earned, student progress, all students, student progress, students meeting added value targets, factor of school climate, student perceptions of social physical environment, and teacher participation rate. Based upon the information provided by Principal Adams, the school is looking to develop effective solutions for these 6 areas of concern: academic intervention for lower achieving students, classroom professionals, teachers, international teachers, teaching assistants, challenging courses for high achieving students, special education, student behavior support, behavior interventionists, social, emotional, mental health services, student support services, psychologists, social workers, and health services. Our goal in the SIC team is to foster a positive school environment that ensures student safety, respect, and value. Thus, we would like to propose 3 new incentivized year-round related arts positions for each elementary school to promote career exploration and community awareness. These new positions will address the need for academic intervention for lower achieving students, challenging courses for higher achieving students, improve student behavior, and reduce the need for student behavior support. The first proposed course would teach political science and take students on field trips to the State House with the help of House Representative Annie McDaniel. The second proposed course would teach sustainable agricultural education with the help of Clemson Extension and their master gardeners. The third proposed course would teach computer coding to foster crucial skills like problem solving, logical thinking, and creativity. This would cost the district between $120,000 and $135,000 per year per elementary school, depending on how the 3 positions are incentivized, totaling at roughly $2.4 million for the whole year for all 18 elementary schools. These teachers would commit to working during the summer to ensure that students meet student progress goals for the upcoming year. We would like to propose a career fair held by the district on a quarterly basis to seek out qualified special education teachers, international teachers, and teaching assistants. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. We will now move to Emily Andrews. Greer Kelly. They may have been here during the budget meeting. Cynthia Johnson. I know she was here earlier as well. Okay. Lauren Green. Buffy Robinson. Kelly Smith. Kristen Markle. Oh, we have another one. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Richland 2 School Board, for allowing input into the budget, general budget for 25-26. I'm Christian Markle. I represent Healthy Learners, and I'd like to humbly recommend to the Board of Trustees of Richland 2 to invest in increasing access to health care for under-resourced students in the district by joining in a contractual agreement with Healthy Learners. Healthy Learners provides access to health care for students struggling with health barriers to learning, like vision loss, chronic dental pain, mental health challenges, and a variety of other health problems that impact a child's learning. Over the 20 years, Healthy Learners has been providing health care access to students in Richland 2. We have seen thousands of students struggling with untreated health issues that impact their learning. A child unable to see the board, hear a lesson, or manage chronic pain is set up for failure. Yet, basic care remains out of reach due to barriers like lack of transportation, difficulty navigating the healthcare system, language barriers, and unaffordable copays. These challenges are even greater for those facing racial disparities, such as the growing Hispanic population that are ineligible for Medicaid. Left untreated, these issues affect children's ability to focus in class, attend school, and succeed academically. With 80% of learning occurring through sight, vision impairment is a leading cause of falling behind in school. And students with chronic dental pain are 4 times more likely to have a lower GPA. Healthy Learners has been partnering alongside Richland 2 for the last 20 years, providing access to healthcare services for thousands of the district's most vulnerable students. Last year alone, we supported 405 under-resourced students, removing over 1,500 health barriers that were impacting their learning, and assisted Richland 2 school nurses in completing preventative vision and hearing screenings for 1,900 students, of which 442 did not pass their screening. Healthy Learners has been providing care to Richland 2 students for decades with very little financial support from the district. To date, we've not received any funding from Richland 2 since the 21-22 school year. We need the district's financial support in order to continue our services to Richland 2 students. Other school districts such as Richland 1, Lexington 2, District 5, as well as many others, have contractual financial agreements with Healthy Learners, which guarantees our services in the district. And we are asking humbly that the Richland 2 School Board would consider joining in a contractual agreement with Healthy Learners to ensure our services remain available to the entire district's needs. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Anna Paris.
Good evening. I want to begin by expressing Pontiac's deep gratitude for how the district has responded to our needs for staffing this year. The district moved swiftly to approve positions and alleviate extremely large class sizes. Thank you so much for that. It has made a big difference. During the last board meeting, an approval was made for the purchase of land. And as I brought board meeting notes back to the faculty and staff at my school, a natural question was, what will this land be used for? Being that it has not been disclosed to the public yet, I referred the staff member back to the motion that was made and reiterated that specific details had not yet been disclosed to the public. I have no doubt that the district will continue to respond in helping acquire all positions that are needed. However, this does not solve the problem of space. At Pontiac, we currently have 2 related arts teachers who have to travel between homeroom to homeroom. We have no space, and yet we continue to grow. And while we continue to grow, there are also schools in Richland 2 with significantly lower occupancy. And this puts some schools and students at a greater advantage while others at a disadvantage. Pontiac faculty and staff await an update from the school board on what will be done for us and schools like us who continue to face overcrowding issues and have no more space to provide additional classes. We recognize that it is not only about one school, but what impacts one school impacts the whole district. Please consider providing an update on plans for ensuring that Pontiac and other Richland 2 schools facing overcrowding issues will have the space that they need for a safe and quality education for our students. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Corey Dwyer.
All right, so sorry about that. How everybody doing? Good evening. Dr. Scott, Dr. Moore, and board members. My time came kind of fast. I was hoping to get some practice in. But I just want to introduce myself. My name is Corey Dwyer. I'm the owner and CEO of the Forward Progression Mentor Apprenticeship Program. It's a new baby of a 501c3 organization, but we just took on District 2, hook, line, and sinker. We're currently partnering with all 5 of the school districts where we're assisting young people by, and I'm kind of nervous, I'm usually not nervous, but the mission of our program is to provide an opportunity and an avenue for students within the Columbia, Blythewood, and the surrounding areas. The goals of our apprenticeship program is to assist young people in being more cooperative, competitive, skillful as students, student athletes, employees, entrepreneurs, and just overall citizens. This nonprofit organization operates primarily off donations and grant funding. Obviously, we're brand new to the nonprofit realm where we don't qualify for funding, but students love the program. So right now we're partnering with small businesses in the area where the students, we give them an opportunity to work in the field of their interests. So if I have a student that's interested in being a dentist, my job is to partner with these locations, get the students in these locations. They work 10 weeks. I provide consistent training that help them maintain themselves while they're in their location. Once they complete their 120 hours, they receive a cash stipend. It's perfect on year 3. You know, I have the funding and everything like that. But right now, things are a bit tight, but we're still operating. So my dream is to pretty much improve the community from the inside out. So, you know, we want to make sure we better train the young people that's going to be our future leaders, give them the skills that they need, put them in position where they can practice those skills so when they get out, they graduate, they already have the experience, they have the resumes, they have the you know, all of those references, everything that they need to be successful. Right now, I'm pretty much introducing this amazing program. It's going to take off because the way it started. Like, we started with a big bang. I was expecting a small group. We're currently operating on our spring term, and the program goes year round. So 10-week terms. The students, they pretty much can choose what field they want to get the experience in, and my job is to partner with those locations. Right now, we have We Care Urgent Care, we have Premier Dentistry in Blythewood. Mayor Sloan actually have some students that's actually working with them. Kiki's Chicken and Waffles, Blythewood Dentistry, Lower Richland Chiropractic, you know, so we have some businesses that are partnering. Just want to make sure you guys are aware. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And last on the list is Felicia Jones-Heaton.
Thank you for your support. Thank you for letting me speak. So parents, you're not going to like what I say, but I have to say this. So 1 in every 10,000 children are born with plastic on the brain, to the point that they're never going to be able to dress themselves or walk, okay? Then we have, in 20 years, our youth may not be able to reproduce because of the toxic in the environments. And I've been speaking to you about the class action lawsuit. All right, the ADHD is a prerequisite to dementia. They recently reclassified dementia as diabetes type 3 because there was a 200% of 30-year-olds getting dementia. I'm 67. I should be the one getting dementia, not 30-year-olds, because of the environmental pollution in it. Okay, so last year, July 24 and October 24, the South Carolina sued chemical companies for environmental pollution, okay? So our #1 environmental pollutionist in the United States is helping our current president. You can Google everything, okay? I need the kids to Google the things and then discuss it with your parents, because your parents should be addressing the school board to ask them to support you in this class action lawsuit, which I asked for $5,000 a month for life. I asked for health care for life, a mental counseling for life, and a personal assistant. One thing I want to say, if I put poison in the air, food, and the room that I send a kid in, and they tell you that, you're calling CPS the next day. That same day, I asked you to use Child Protective Service, Juvenile Justice Department, and filing this class action lawsuit with Article 16 for the United Nations, okay? Next thing is, no child should be wearing a bulletproof backpack to school, because you don't want to ask for a mandatory blood test, because these people out here want to carry a gun, and they're on ADHD medication. 92% of America is on ADHD medication. Your kids shouldn't be wearing a bulletproof backpack or dodging no bullets in school, doing no drill tests because you're sitting on your butt, not saying nothing. I don't care if they don't like it, okay? I have 9 kids and 9 grandkids, 4 kids. I'm not playing with you guys. I already told you I'm a peace ambassador, a humanitarian. I'm going to keep coming back, and I'm not going to get any softer in what I'm saying, because you should be charged with crimes against humanity. When you're messing with children, that's crimes against humanity, okay? And poison doesn't care about your color, your race, your age, your religion, or anything else. It's poison in your air, your food, and your water, and you know it. 92% of your population is on that medication. The gun violence, I asked you about the drones, helping with that, and the human trafficking. Okay, so we know last month, a teacher in Lexington drugged and took a child home and had his way with it the next day after I left here. So that really didn't help the situation. Thank you, and I will be back. Have a blessed day.
Thank you to all who signed up and spoke this evening for public participation. We are now going to move to item 8.0, special recognition. The agenda item in this section is special recognition of a former Richland 2 board member, Mrs. Sylvia T. Hanna. I will now turn it over to Dr. Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would ask our Senior Chief for Communication, Ms. Darcy Strickland Rush, to come to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Good evening, Dr. Scott and board members, and good evening to all of you. This is a packed house. We want to see it like this every other Tuesday of the month. This is exciting. But we are here this evening to recognize some very special people in our community. We are going to begin with Ms. Sylvia Taylor Hanna, and we're going to ask the board to come forward in just a few minutes. But first, let me tell you all just a little bit about Ms. Hanna for those of you who don't know her. She is a highly accomplished professional with a Master's of Education from the University of South Carolina and more than 33 years of experience as a licensed insurance account representative with State Farm Insurance. She is a committed community leader. She served as an elected member of the Richland District 2 Board of Trustees from 1990 to 1994. And she's held a number of influential appointments, including serving on the University of South Carolina Board of Visitors since 2019 and the State Jobs Trading Council under Governors Carol Campbell and Jim Hodges. Ms. Hanna is the founder and president of the Decker Boulevard Business Coalition and has been deeply involved in various advisory boards and committees, including those for Black Expo and the USC Community Advisory Committee. Her leadership extends to several prestigious memberships like the USC Horseshoe Society and the American Business Women's Association, where she served as the chair from 1978 to 1984. She has received a number of honors, including the USC Legendary Fan Supporter Recognition in 2021, the Key to the City of Columbia, and the Ebony Key Award for being the first Black elected woman to the Richland District 2 Board in 1991. She is married to Marion C. Hanna. It says here a State Farm agent, but I think most people would say the State Farm agent. And they have a son, Michael, and one granddaughter. Please join me, board members, if you will come forward, as we give Miss Sylvia Taylor Hannah a huge round of applause. And if you'll just come forward. Congratulations, Julie. Yes, sir. Come. Did you want to say something? Okay.
It gives me great honor to be in this setting among my colleagues 35 years after the fact. I won an election here in this district. First time I ever ran for public office. But guess what? It was 23 other people who wanted that position. And through the community, they supported who I was, who I am, and they felt that I was the right person to be on that board. And we made great changes to this district. And me being the first minority elected, that meant a lot for the community. They felt it was time for it to happen, and I was the one. And for that reason alone, it's so beautiful to have these board members here and congratulating me for what I did almost 35 years ago. But thank you very much, and I appreciate the honor and the recognition. Thank you.
Excuse me, just like you need to go further back. Okay, excuse us. Okay. Sorry about that. And Dr. Moore, if we can get you to step into, please. And if Miss Hannah's family wants to come forward. Be outside in a minute.
Ms. Darcy, you want to put it in the lobby?
I'm gonna stay right here. And board members, don't get too comfortable. I'm gonna have you stand back up in just a second. Yes, Madam Chair?
I do want to say to Mrs. Hannah, thank you so much for paving the way for us. We know that it's been 30-plus years, but I truly believe in giving you your flowers while you're able to smell them. And I think it was so important as we celebrate the closing of Women's History Month that every African-American female that you see sitting up here, You made it possible for us. So thank you for allowing us to stand on the shoulders of you. I don't know about you, but if you're sitting in this audience and you're a parent, grandparent, student, educator, we need to stand up and give this young lady a round of applause. She deserves it. Thank you so much, Mrs. Hannah, and to her family. You guys are welcome to stick around, or you welcome to leave. It's your choice. So now I would turn it back over to Dr. Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're getting ready now to celebrate some of our brilliant students. And so, once again, I would like to introduce Miss Darcy Strickland Rush, who's now in the back of the room, thanks to the podium being moved, to introduce our students.
I think as long as y'all can hear me, you don't have to see me, right? Okay, good. All right, tonight we have the honor and privilege of celebrating some of the brightest young minds in our district, our SC Ready Perfect Score Scholars. Let's give them a huge round of applause. These exceptional students all achieved a perfect score on their Spring 2024 SC Ready math assessments, a remarkable accomplishment, I should say, that reflects their dedication, their hard work, and their perseverance. Earning a perfect score is no small feat. It requires focus and determination and a deep commitment to learning. These students have demonstrated excellence in their academics, and we are incredibly proud of their achievements. Of course, behind every successful student is a strong support system. We want to recognize and thank our teachers and principals and families for their unwavering encouragement and commitment to student success. Your dedication plays a vital role in helping these students reach their full potential. So at this time, we would like to invite each of our students, along with their principal, to the front to be recognized. We'll get you to line up on the right side of the room, this side over here. Guess that's stage right over here. So we'll get principals and students to line up. Okay, Dr. Moore's gonna get it. And if it helps any, we've got the schools in alphabetical order, so Bethel Hanbury will be going first. Can you get Bob, baby? Good job, boys and girls. So when I call your name, you'll go up with your principal, and you'll stand in between Dr. Scott and Dr. Moore. You'll take a picture with your certificate, and then you can head on out this direction. Okay? Does that make sense? I know the kids have it. Principals, do y'all have that? Okay. Okay, Mr. McLeod, I'll repeat it for you. All right, so we're going to go up. We're going to stand in between Dr. Scott and Dr. Moore. We'll get our certificate. We'll smile. We'll take a picture, and then we'll head out this direction. All right? All right. Bethel Hanbury says they are ready, so we are ready to rock and roll. All right. So we are going to start this evening with Tyson Glaze of Bethel Hanbury Elementary. Nasir Saryu. I guess a better direction would be go back to your mommy or daddy. I'm sorry. I have high school seniors now, y'all. I forgot they can't just walk out. Sorry, it's been a long time. From Bridge Creek Elementary, we have Adabel Sanchez DeRoss. From Bridge Creek Elementary, Taylor Bofin. From Catawba Trail Elementary, Dylan Carlos. All right, let's put our hands together for Zoe Harper. Congratulations to Claire Whitelock. Thank you. From Center for Knowledge, we have Lily Eberhardt. How about Andre Simeon? A huge round of applause for Harsh Varden. From Forest Lake Elementary, Century Holland. From Jackson Creek, we've got Kai Washington. From Center for Achievement, Kennedy Patman. Lake Carolina Upper, Joseph Bell. From Langford Elementary, Miss Ava Crawford. From Polo Road Elementary, Kalia Ray. From Pontiac Elementary, Cecil Whipple. Also representing Pontiac Elementary tonight, Ritik Pandit. From Rice Creek Elementary, Fong No. And from Round Top Elementary, we'll start off with Audrina Hewer. Miss Corinne Howard. Brycelyn Irwin. Miss Olivia Min. Owen Serber. And rounding out the smartest math kids in elementary school, Clara Strum. Let's give all of our students another huge round of applause. Parents, we will allow you a couple of minutes to exit the room as we look forward to bringing in our championship basketball teams. But you are free to stay if you'd like. All right, we're going to continue with the celebration. Tonight we have the incredible honor of recognizing history in the making. For the first time ever, the Blythewood High School basketball team, the girls basketball team, has been crowned 5A state champions. Let's give them a huge round of applause. This victory is, of course, more than just a win. It is a testament to the hard work, the resilience, and the teamwork displayed by these outstanding student athletes. They pushed through challenges, they stayed committed to their goals, and they made their school and community proud with this historic achievement. Let's talk about some of these stats here. Chase Thomas is 3-time Player of the Year and All-State. India Williams is All-State. India Williams and Haley Hightower, both 3-time All-Region. Sharon Waters is a senior, going to play at the next level, still trying to decide where we're going to college. Of course, no championship is won alone, I should say. Behind these athletes stand an exceptional coaching staff, dedicated team managers, supportive admin, and unwavering fans who believed in them every single step of the way. Your leadership, encouragement, and commitment to excellence has helped make this dream a reality. So at this time, we invite the players, coaches, managers, admin to the front to be recognized for this remarkable achievement. Blythewood Bengals, you have set the standard and you have made history. Congratulations on this well-deserved championship. Let's give them a huge round of applause so you all can come forward. And I see you're already wearing medals, but if you don't mind, we've got a couple more to give you. We'll just do one team photo. So you just get your medal and then head on down. Feel free to shake the hands as you come down. So, Cody Goff, number 1, 10th grade. Kennedy Anderson, number 2, 11th grade. Anaya Guerrero, number 3, 11th grade. Elena Young, number 10, 11th grade. Daniela Bosman, number 11, 12th grade. Haley Hightower, number 12, 11th grade. Madison Thomas, number 14, 11th grade. Kayla Spain, number 21, 10th grade. Sharon Waters, number 22, 12th grade. Chase Thomas, number 23, 11th grade. India Williams, number 24, 11th grade. And so we'll have you all come forward and get your medals, and then we'll have the coaches and the principals come through too. We have medals for y'all too. We could not have done this without you. And now we are ready for our big group photo. So if you all could just stand right back up and
From here, do you want to slide it back up?
nope, we're good. The fun continues. This is not all the basketball history that was made in Richland District 2. We knew when the boys hit the court that it was going to be a Richland 2 win, one way or another. And tonight, we are thrilled to celebrate the Ridgeview High School Blazers on their state championship victory. The term dynasty has been tossed around just a little bit. And as they prepare your medals, gentlemen, I'm going to have you walk up and we're going to talk a little bit about how amazing it is to be a Ridgeview Blazer. Y'all come on up. This was a historic matchup as the Blazers faced off against the Blythewood Bengals for the first time on such... I don't have... Okay, gentlemen, when you come up, if you want to say your name, that would be amazing. Or how about this? I'll call your name. I don't know if you're in order. Let's do that. All right. Ethan Cohen. Come on up, Ethan. Malachi Cooper. Corey Corbett. Roderick Davis. Yale Davis. Christopher Horton. Braden Mack. Jordan Mack. Reginald Mack. Kabira McLonghorn. Cornelius Moore. Trevin Smith. Talon Staley. Miles Tucker. Joshua Van Callen. Robert Wiley. Head coach Joshua Staley. Assistant coaches Kenny Hunter, Chris Johnson, Reginald Murray, Brian Sanders, Christian Savage, and David Smith. Dr. Brenda Mack is our principal. Athletic Director Brian Rosefield. Manager Makai High. And Brandon Perry.
His name is Mac, Mr. Mac.
And that's Mr. Mack too. Mr. Wilson. So, gentlemen, if you don't mind standing, we're going to take another photo. I appreciate it. And so y'all can... The Blazers' journey to this championship was nothing short of extraordinary. Overall, their record was 23-7, undefeated in region play, 12-0, region player of the year, 5A player of the year, 2 all-state players, 4 all-region players, 5A Division I state champions. Give it up for them again for that. And they put the student and student athlete because we've got 3 seniors committed to play at the next level. Students, tonight we celebrate you. Keep striving for excellence, keep pushing yourself, and please continue to shine. You are setting the standard for academic achievement in our district, and we can't wait to see all that you will accomplish in the future. Congratulations.
Okay, we will now move to item 9.0, voting on executive session items. 9.1, litigation matter. May I please have a motion on a litigation matter regarding legal services? Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Washington?
I move to accept the administration's recommendation to engage the legal services of Hubbard and Gottschall Law to provide the district legal representation for an insurance matter.
Thank you. The motion has been made by Mrs. Washington. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Washington and seconded by Mr. Trapp. Is there any discussion? Board members, any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. We will now move to item 9.2, student appeals. May I please have a motion regarding student appeals?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Williams.
I move to grant the parent appeal for student number 1 and to move to Blythewood Academy for the remainder of the school year.
The motion has been made by Ms. Williams. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Ms. Williams and seconded by Mrs. Nash. Is there any discussion? Board members, any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Yes. Yes, Ms. Williams, if you would please repeat that motion again.
I move to grant the parent appeal for student number 1 and move to Blythewood Academy for the remainder of the school year.
And Ms. Williams, once the motion is up there, if you would verify it, please.
Yes.
Is the motion correct?
That is correct.
Board members, please vote. The motion is 6 yes, 1 no. The motion passes. We will now move to item 9.3, employment recommendations and certified releases. May I please have a motion regarding employment recommendations and certified releases?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Dennis.
I move to approve the employment recommendations and certified releases as presented.
The motion has been made by Mr. Dennis. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mr. Dennis and seconded by Mrs. Nash. Is there any discussion? Board members, any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. The motion is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. We will now move to item 10.0, unfinished business. 10.1, 2026-2027 academic calendar. May I please have a motion regarding the 2026-2027 academic school year calendar?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Nash?
I move to approve the proposed calendar, Calendar B, as the academic calendar for the 26-2027 school year.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Nash. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Nash and seconded by Mr. Trapp. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mrs. Porter?
Yes, I just wanted to, because of the discussion that took place at our last meeting, I wanted to remind everyone that when they showed the results of the students and parents, in this situation, it was an odd number. So although this was the majority, and it may have been by a small amount, there were most of the teachers that completed the survey had chosen calendar C. And then I believe it was most of the parents had actually picked calendar C as well. And it was the way that they aggregated the results made it calendar B. So I just would like for us to pause as you vote, because although the administration is bringing forth calendar B, they've made it somewhat clear that they were following the practice of, if this is the majority, this is what we bring forward to you. But in further discussion last week, it came to me that perhaps there was another calendar we should consider that was presented. And that would be the explanation for why I do not support calendar B tonight.
Board members, any other comments? Do you have a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Dennis?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I also feel the same as my colleague here on that. So that's why I will not be supporting calendar B.
Okay, and I will make a comment. I will be supporting calendar B because that is the calendar that the superintendent and the majority of our teachers and parents and educators voted for. So because of that, I will be supporting our superintendent and the educators on calendar B. With that being said, I'll call for the vote, please. We're waiting for the vote. Ms. Washington? She doesn't have anything. The motion is 2 yes, 5 no. The motion fails. Is there a motion, another motion?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mrs. Porter?
I move to approve calendar C as the academic calendar for 2026 and 2027.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Porter and seconded by Mrs. Williams. Is there any discussion? And again, I would make a comment that although all of the calendars were great, because calendar B did get the majority of the votes, I was going to support the superintendent and the other educators. However, my colleagues have decided to go a different direction, and I do respect that, but I would not be supporting that. So I can show the teachers and the superintendent that they do have my support on this vote. Thank you. Ms. Porter, please check the motion. Make sure it's correct.
It's correct.
Okay, thank you. Board members, please vote. The vote is 5 yes, 7 no. The motion passes. 2 no. I do apologize. Let me repeat that. 5 yes, 2 no. The motion passes. Thank you for that correction. We will now move to item 10.2, Legislative Roundtable Event. May I please have a motion regarding the Legislative Roundtable Event?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Porter?
I move to approve the request to have a legislative roundtable event on April 24th, 2025, from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Porter. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Porter and seconded by Mrs. Washington. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Nash?
I know that we were gonna talk more about like details and stuff. Is that still happening? Okay, cool, all right.
Wait, Ms. Porter.
I guess I know that we were gonna talk more about the details, I guess whatever was finalized, is it, at some point, we're gonna get that, I guess? Because I think we had like kind of a scaled down version, or there were a couple of versions of what we were gonna do. Did we decide what that was gonna look like?
Okay, I'll pass that over to Ms. Porter, if you don't mind addressing Mrs. Nash's question, please.
Yes, ma'am. So it would take place on the 24th from 5 to 6:30. We have heavy hors d'oeuvres, and this would be following, I believe, from what was proposed at the last meeting, the option B. And there will be roundtable discussions with those in attendance. They'll have heavy hors d'oeuvres, and then there will be a tour of the Performing Arts Center as well. And then we will also have a handout which would review the celebrations that our district would like to share with those in attendance and any challenges that we've had this year.
Sounds good. I also just want to say, like, I am glad we're doing this because Ms. McFadden, who started this previously, didn't get the opportunity to do that. And so I still think she should get some of the credit for starting this when we started it. So I just want to say shout out to Ms. McFadden because she did plan something very similar to this. And unfortunately, at that time, we weren't able to do it. That's all.
Thank you so much. Any other discussion, board members? Seeing none, I would like to call for the vote, please. You can do a hand vote. Did you get it? If we can go ahead and take a hand vote in essence of time. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Vote is 7 yes, 0 no. Motion passes. We will now move to item 11.0, new business action requested. May I please have a motion on a contractual matter regarding external auditing services?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Washington?
I move to approve the 3-year contract with Green, Finney, Cawley LLP for an external audit of the district's annual comprehensive financial report and the district's procurement policies, procedures, and practices beginning July 1st, 2025.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Washington. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Washington, seconded by Mr. Dennis. Is there any discussion? Board members, any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Are we waiting on anyone? Okay, there it is. The vote is 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. We will now turn over to item 12.0, new business, no action requested, and that would be 12.1, academic update. I will turn it over now to Dr. Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, tonight we've had a lot of excitement and celebration, but I have to say to you, I am very excited about this presentation because we're going to hear from some of our amazing leaders in this district. But I want to give you an introduction of them, and then we'll jump right into the presentation. So we will have our Senior Chief of Academics, Ms. Jennifer Morrison, our Data Queen, Dr. Jennifer Coleman, who is the Executive Director of Accountability, as well as 3 of our amazing principals. Dr. Whitehurst from Condor Elementary School, Dr. Floyd from E.L. Wright Middle School, and Dr. Thomas from Richland Northeast High School. And so, Board, I know you've heard this, but really for the public, I want to explain what my goals have been since I've become superintendent. And we've talked a lot about this at the beginning of the year, and you'll see this on the first slide, that we are here to ensure that all of our students, our goal is 100% of our students are being successful in Richland 2. Now, you see there on the slide that Tier 1 instruction, which is our regular classroom instruction that every student receives every single day. We want to make sure, as research shows, that we are having 80% of our students in Tier 1 getting that great instruction every day from the wonderful teachers that we have in our buildings. That additional 20% of students is for those students that need additional support through our interventionists. And as you've heard tonight, one of our speakers talked about support that's provided to our ML population. So these are students that need that additional support. And then, of course, our goal in Richland 2 is to have all of our schools increase their performance on the South Carolina report card. Now, in order for that to happen, we have to have amazing leaders and amazing team members who are bringing the instructional leadership into classrooms every single day. And so that has been our approach starting at the beginning of this year. We have instituted data-informed systems that we have been developing over the course of the year. And it started when I reorganized our academic department to break down silos and to put all of our academics under one person, and that is our Senior Chief of Academics, Ms. Morrison, who has been leading the work with our principals around strong systems and resulting in performance that we need as far as looking at student outcomes. And I am just so excited about this because as a part of my process this year, I've been attending data meetings with our leaders, one-on-one meetings with our leaders, and then as a part of the work we do every month with our principals, we've had some phenomenal conversations around the systems we are putting in place to best support our students. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Morrison to talk about our academic priorities that we have put in place this year based upon my goals.
Dr. Moore and Dr. Scott and members of the board, I'm so glad to be here with you tonight. And I am very, very excited. I told the principals this at our principals meeting this past week, that we have no lack of talent and capability and competence in Richland 2. And sometimes it's a matter of pulling together, figuring out what really works for the context that we have now, and moving forward. And that's one of the reasons why being data informed is so important. I'm going to flip the slide. So I've been here for 7 months now, and have loved really every day. And what I was tasked with by Dr. Moore in my first year was to make sure that our new academic department had the systems and the connections across silos in place to make sure that we do a good job supporting our schools, our leaders, our teachers, and each and every child in Richland 2. And so one of the things, we have 4 priority areas really for the academic department in 24-25, so that's this year. And first, to make sure that there's a very, very strong and comprehensive aligned system for the support of schools. Not certain schools, every single school. And the principals have been very, very open to that. And so Dr. Coleman will talk a little bit about the continuous improvement system, because she is the lead on that system, although it goes across every single division in the academic department. So we do have a system in place, and we'll share a little bit tonight about that. The other thing that we put in place almost immediately was to make sure that we were doing some professional learning for our principals in their monthly principals meeting around systems that are data informed, and really focusing their work with their leadership team on the development of those systems, and then testing. Do they work? Do they not work? Do we need to make changes? That's a really, really important continuous improvement process. And so we have done that, and I'll actually share some of the systems that the schools are working on. And then the other thing that we need to make sure that we do is, sometimes, especially as districts grow, it's important to be really, really clear about what's a requirement versus what's a recommendation. And that was something I heard from principals at the beginning of the year. We're not quite sure what's a recommendation, what's actually a requirement. And so we do have a process in place for publishing those requirements in a place where everyone can see them and everyone has them and knows and has access to those. And that was really important to do, as just a process and a system for how we're operating in the academic department. Third, really making sure that we have internal department clarity and alignment, because everything is in academics, which is amazing. And we have such great leaders in this department. But that alignment is really important, because if one division is doing this and another division is doing that, everybody's trying to work to support and make it happen. But without the alignment, those efforts can be really, really frustrating to our schools. And so that goal of 80% is really, really important, because we can all pull together around that. And we've been working on that with that goal in mind, in every single data meeting, every single conversation, every single system review that we do. And we've really worked to establish that mission across all of the divisions, and again, start that system of system reviews. So I know that we are also looking at program evaluation as something that we need to do. Sometimes that's for very specific, especially high dollar items, and things that are really critical. A system review is something that happens every year. We may not do it is a system that crosses multiple divisions, like assessment. And Dr. Coleman will be talking about, because we just did a review of the assessment system to prep for 25-26. And then finally, really working to make sure that all of our schools are utilizing data in ways that work, that we're actually assessing, is it actually working? And having Dr. Moore in those data meetings has been really a great really important piece of where we're going with the work that we're actually doing. And our principals will talk a little bit about some of the systems they're putting in place. But one of the things that I asked the principals, all of the principals at the beginning of the year, was, all right, we know why systems are important. We established that and had a lot of conversation about that. But what systems are we really going to work on, right? Because there is no magic bullet system. There really isn't. If we do a good job with 2 or 3 systems, they all spread and connect to each other. So, but it was really important to figure out, okay, where are we going? And because we want to make sure, because schools are unique in a lot of ways. And so when we asked every single principal, what's your first priority system, your second priority system, and the third? And then we sort of built the professional learning around that and some of the data conversations around that. So you can see the results on the slide. That teacher retention and development is something that really is something that we have to continue to work on, both at school level and the district level. teacher PLCs. You know, PLCs are professional learning communities, but it's really teachers collaborating around data, not planning, but looking at student learning and how do we get there together. And that, I think, will be a big push into the next school year as well. And then, you know, of course, our multi-tiered systems of support. We know that there's a lot in there that will help all of our students, including students in Tier 1. Improvement of Tier 1, huge, because we know that that's where our 80% lives. And data systems, you'd be very proud of a lot of our schools with the data systems that they're putting in place. And then also just observations, walkthroughs, and feedback and support that we provide to our teachers around that classroom instruction, especially as our teacher pipeline has changed. And that's important to think about. So this was the prioritization of our school systems across all of our schools, and we really addressed, we have worked hard as a department to address those needs. So we have just 2 minutes from 3 of our principals who put some strong systems in place this year. I will start with Mr. Whitehurst from Condor Elementary, then we'll go to Dr. Floyd from E.L. Wright, and then we'll go to Dr. Thomas from Richland Northeast. And then after that, I'll come back up, and then we'll switch over to Dr. Coleman in the system. So let's start with Mr. Whitehurst. Hello, sir.
Madam Chair, Madam Superintendent, Board, thank you for allowing me to share with you this evening. So talking about the systems that we've put in place at Condor Elementary School, the most important priority for us was establishing a strong professional learning community. So I'd like to read and share with you some information on what we've done so far. So weekly professional learning communities, which are PLCs, they provide a valuable opportunity for our educators to align instructional standards, engage in meaningful collaborative discussion, and intentionally disaggregate student performance data. These sessions allow for an in-depth analysis of grade level and classroom specific data to identify our strengths, identify and address the areas of growth, and make necessary instructional adjustments. These sessions are facilitated by our instructors and supported by the instructional leadership team. These collaborative meetings are intentionally structured to support thoughtful planning, coaching, and the breakdown of our standards. This ensures that instructors remain aligned with learning objectives, lesson plans, and is purposeful, and instructional materials and activities are selected with intentionality. Additionally, our data dive insights guide our instructional adjustments and successful implementation of our key initiatives, fostering a culture of continuous growth and student success. And as a result of our weekly PLCs, the instructional leadership team, we thoughtfully design professional development opportunities tailored to meet the needs of our teachers. These may include grade band or grade level content-specific training, individualized coaching sessions, extended coaching cycles, and valuable opportunities for peer-to-peer observations. By providing intentional and targeted support, we aim to foster continuous growth, enhance instructional practices, and strengthen collaboration among our educators. The second systems and the two work together in hand behind an initiative that my team and I wholeheartedly believe in, and that initiative is centered around buying back teachers' time. While we cannot create more hours in a day, we can be intentional about making the most of the time that we have. By prioritizing time efficiency and effectiveness, we aim to reduce unnecessary meetings, allowing teachers the space that they need to process information, engage in thoughtful preparation and planning, and reflect on their instructions and just sometimes take a moment for self-care. To support these initiatives, we have implemented two key strategies designed to give teachers back valuable time, ensuring they can focus on what matters most, which is impacting teaching and student success. The first one is our Star Chronicle. Thank you all so much. Man, that time was fast.
All right, Dr. Floyd.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Moore, members of the board. Thank you for this opportunity, first of all. I would like to say that the data review process has been very beneficial. Yeah, I've had 3, and each one of those, I had a field conference room. The individuals there were truly there for support. They helped me to align the strategies that we're using. They offered resources. They offered district support. Everybody was eager to provide that support, and it's just been an overall awesome process. In fact, in planning to get ready for those meetings, it helped me to strategize what's next. So it in itself is a system. I feel like that allowed for the process of thinking and planning moving forward. So speaking of systems, when I first met Ms. Morrison, we seem to be kindred spirits on the respect of appreciating systems. I think her favorite quote regarding systems is, if it's not a system, it's a lottery, right? And I shared mine. I said, so the reason we have systems, and the good thing about systems is we can be tough on process, but easy on people. And so at EL Wright, what we strive to do is to be tough on process and easy on people. Our theme for this year is celebrating our wins and supporting our growth. There's no way I'm going to meet that 2-minute mark. All right. So the first system that we have is celebrations, right? So every single day we celebrate a Wolf of the Week. That's a certified staff member on one day, a 6th, 7th, and 8th grader on the other days, and a classified staff member. We recognize them on the announcements, and we issue a Wolf of the Week T-shirt, and we truly celebrate them. The impact of that is a positive culture for our school environment, all right? So the results of that are a significant reduction in discipline. For the first semester, we've had a 41% decrease in office referrals, a 21% decrease in out-of-school suspensions, and a 43% decrease, a 43% decrease in referrals for expulsion in this first semester. So thank you for your time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marlon Thomas. I am the proud principal of Richland Northeast, the home of the Cavaliers, a school where joy resides. So one of the things that I want to quickly kind of talk about is our professional learning communities and how we have grown so much in that area. But when I'm saying professional, I'm talking about targeted professional development to meet the specific needs of our students and our teachers. So every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, our content specialists come in from the district office to, one, make sure that our standards and objectives are aligned to our activities and lessons, to make sure that they're working with teachers to create formative and summative assessments that can be measured, and thirdly, but last but not least, but also making sure that teachers understand the instructional resources that they have using vetted materials. So the district content specialists are coming in every 2 weeks, working with our teachers, which has been phenomenal. On a school-wide scale, we are specifically working with our MLL population. Some of you all may know which makes up 22% of the population of our schools. So our teachers are using scaffolding techniques, making sure that we are meeting the needs of our students by using AVID strategies and collaborative approaches. I want to specifically talk about Power 30. This is 30 minutes of professional development that we do before our faculty meetings, where there is a focus on it's teacher-led and it's choice. So our teachers get to go to the sessions that they feel best meet their needs, and that has been tremendous. Now, so we're doing a lot of PD, but what is the outcome? After examining our semester 2 benchmark data, Richland Northeast High School has exceeded the district benchmark average in all 4 content areas. Shout out to Richland Northeast. Somebody better shout out to us. We're very proud, and just thank you all for the opportunity to lead Richland Northeast. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, principals. And so I think that, a couple of points before Dr. Coleman comes up. Number one, the continuous improvement process, which includes data meetings but is not limited to data meetings, has been really important to have those conversations about what the school is doing next and then also what the district needs to do next. And it also has allowed us to set good priorities for what we will be focusing on as we move into the 25-26 school year. And then finally, I think that one of the things you probably heard from our principals is that these are systems that are sustainable. We'll have some wins this year, and we are having wins this year, but we will have big wins over time. And then finally, I actually am now going to turn it over to Dr. Coleman, who is leading our continuous improvement system, to take us through.
Well, I do believe I drew the short straw having to follow 3 principals this evening. I have really enjoyed working with these gentlemen and learning from them this year. So when we talk about continuous improvement systems, it might be natural to think that we focus on schools that might be in greater need. But the truth is that as educators, we're never satisfied. It doesn't matter how much we do. I already got texts from the principals who walked in front of you going, how do I get more kids in front of the board with perfect scores next year? And I knew that was going to happen because we're always striving for better. So the great thing about the continuous improvement system is it involves all schools because every single one of our schools has room for improvement, every single one of them. The great thing about it is that we do, though, differentiate the support based on perhaps if you're on a list, perhaps if we saw a decrease in your report card rating, perhaps if we've seen issues with behavior at your school, perhaps if your ML population is becoming very large. So we're able to kind of differentiate that support for the schools. The nice thing this year that's been kind of fun is we've had our MLLs folks in there. We've had our MTSS interventionists, and we've had our SPED team. And one thing that we have really found collectively working together is that a lot of what we do for our SPED kids is great for our ML kids, and what we're doing for AVID is good for SPED and is good for ML. And so we've really had a lot of connections having that larger group in the room this year. We always ask the school leadership teams, what are your next steps? Because we never want to leave a meeting feeling as though it's done. The work is never done. But the most important part of the meeting is, what can we do for you? We do not have the hard jobs in district office. The hard jobs are the people who are standing in the schools and leading them. And so we are here to serve them. So what can we do for you? You all know that we do have 8 underperforming schools, and those ratings were based on the 23-24 report card rating of below average or unsatisfactory. And in just a few weeks, we take SC Ready again. And then we'll have new ratings that will come about for that. Dr. Moore has been attending the meetings of those 8 schools. She likes to talk about data as much as I do, so they have been really deep, good conversations when we're all in the room together. And we're using our formative assessments. You heard several of the principals mention that as they came up. And we use those formative assessments to monitor and adjust our instruction. We cannot wait for the SC Ready scores. It's too late. We can't even wait for the benchmark scores. It's too late. We're talking about those classroom interventions, those classroom assessments that are happening throughout the year that allow teachers to monitor what students need in the moment. And as Ms. Morrison mentioned, we've had a system review of our assessments going forward because lots change. We have new science standards. We have new ELA standards. We'll have new math standards next year and a new math progression and a new math textbook. And so we have to be able to pivot and adjust with our assessments as well, just as the curriculum, the textbooks, and the progressions change. And so we're in the midst of that process right now. So very quickly, highlights from our data meetings. These are just some of my favorite. The first one I gotta hit, Ms. Porter. We have started talking about seeing growth in our younger grades. The way that you turn an elementary school around is not in grades 3, 4, and 5. It's in grades K, 1, and 2, right? And so we're having those conversations about the group of kids that we're seeing come up and how we can support them as they're rising. You've heard lots about changes in culture. You heard that from the 3 gentlemen who came up, who are new principals in their building this year. And I can tell you, if you walk into their schools, you can feel the change in the air in their buildings. They are changing the culture slowly. It's not a quick change, but they are making that change in those buildings. 2 of these that I really like, because I'm a big advocate of, academics begins with attendance and discipline. And we're hearing folks talk about, I love that we have less calls over the walkies. Nobody wants to hear that walkie go off, right, Dr. Scott? No, when you were in admin, you didn't want to hear that walkie go off at Ridgeview. So we know that we're seeing reduction in discipline, which is then going to clear the path for instruction and academics in our building. We've had principals say, hey, I need some help with coaching for my leadership team. That's a big ask for a principal to say, and we were appreciative that they felt comfortable enough to ask for that in the data meetings. The second to last bullet is big. Our outreach to Hispanic families has been increasing and has been helpful. It will not be long before our Hispanic students are our second largest population in our district, and we have got to build support specific to our Hispanic community. And for our high schools, some of them chose to offer geometry. They went ahead and dove into that progression shift, which makes me nervous, but it worked well. Having that geometry in first semester for those ninth graders helped them get on track before they move into algebra. So we did see success with those as well. We've already mentioned that we had 5 ATSI schools which were identified in 22-23, and it was a 3-year cycle. We actually had 2 schools exit mid-cycle. That's not easy. And so we were very pleased, and we celebrated. There was a lot of running mans down the hallway on the 3rd floor. I won't tell you if it was me or Dr. Moore, but it was really exciting for us. And a lot of them are talking about that those structures that were put in place for the ATSI plans help. The use of goal books, the implementation of inclusion, increased connection between gen ed and sped ed teachers. And so we were very pleased to see that we've already seen at least 2 schools exit off that cycle, and we hope to have more going forward. We just received a few weeks ago a second set of identifications for TSI, which is, and TSI CUS. So this is another layer of designation that they give to us. So when we talked about ATSI and them being below that 5%, TSI is a 10% cut. So it's a little bit higher. We received our first memo in February with a list that was unbelievably long and made my head spin. And immediately folks across the state called the State Department and said, we think you got it wrong. And they were graceful enough to go back and recalculate their numbers. And about 6 weeks later, we got a second list of schools that was much more pared down, that ended up with 1 TSI and 11 TSI CUS. The frustrating thing about this, I'm sure for both them and us, is school's almost over. So we are doing the best that we can right now. We do know that we know what works based on the 2 schools we exited from ATSI. And so we'll do our best to work on this list and chip away at it this year. So our next steps, we are deep in the midst of data meetings number 3 now. So we're holding our 90-day check-ins with each of our schools, and then we'll have a 4th check-in in June. So by June, we'll have some prelim data that we can kind of close it up. So I think it's kind of putting a bow on the data meetings. So we'll be closing out then the previous school year and talking about what are we going to do now, because that's the most important point for us.
Thank you, Dr. Coleman. Thank you, Ms. Morrison. And thank you to our wonderful principals. I know, Mr. Whitehurst, I spoke that doctorate over you because we've talked about that. So I'm expecting that you will complete it. And as I get ready to turn it over to the board, I just want to say once again, thank you to the principals. I am just so proud of you and the work that you do every single day for our students. And I want everyone to know great and wonderful things are happening in our schools. I see teachers in the audience nodding their heads because they know that great and wonderful things are happening. And it's because of the systems that we are putting in place. Systems set the conditions for our schools, then give our principals the flexibility to do the job that we've hired, and for them then to empower their staff to be brilliant like they are every single day. And with that, I'll turn it over to the board chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Board members, any questions? Any comments? Yeah. Okay, Mrs. Washington.
So I just want to say thank you to our superintendent and Jen Squared, and to our principals just for showing and sharing how we are actually preparing all of our schools to be purpose-driven and future-ready. And I really, really love the fact that you talk so much about the systems, because without systems in place, you will have a rocky foundation. My heart was delighted to hear about program evaluations, because that's something that I'm always asking about, systems reviewing, and even assessing, is it working? Dr. Whitehurst, I want to say thank you to you and your team just for valuing teachers' time. That is so important. And I know you didn't get to finish, so I will have to pop in so you can share with me, but I really, really appreciate you sharing that. Dr. Floyd, I went to E.L. Wright. Woo. But I want to say thank you to you for being easy on the people. That's so important, and putting the systems in place that resulted in you seeing the changes in your students. We can shift children when we shift how we feel and what we do with our adults. And Dr. Thomas, thank you so much for your focus on targeted PD and Power 30. It is so important for us to put teachers at the forefront of their PD and making sure that it is supporting their needs. So I just want to say to all of you, like, this really warms my heart, because this is something that I championed when we talk about being on the school board, is making sure that we are putting academics first. So thank you so much. Just to hear this report really, really lets me know, and it lets the public know that we do have great things that are happening in Richland too. So thank you all.
And board members, I do want to remind you that we do have a comment session at the end for superintendent board comments. So if you're going to make comments now, please let's be as brief as possible, because we do have the ending for comments for board members and superintendents. Thank you. Ms. Williams.
Yes, so I just want to say kudos to the team and the principals, because it is very important to be able to understand where you need to go to have your vision paved out for you. I also want to say thank you for respecting teachers' time and to put them first in determining what they needed and their needs, because teachers, when they have a buy-in, they're able to make it, life easier for everyone else, because they feel that you value who they are as an individual and an educator, and you trust what they know as well. And again, it just shows that our district is headed in the right direction. And thank you so much again for all the work that you all do.
Wow. Okay, board members, any other comments? Any other comments? Okay, thank you so much. We do appreciate what you shared. We're now going to move to item 13.0, agenda items for next meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next board meeting is our regularly scheduled meeting on April the 8th of 2025. We will have a public input session for Hope City Charter Schools application that will start at 4:30 p.m., followed by the call to order executive session at 5:30 p.m. During the call to order, approval of the agenda, followed by release to executive session. During executive session, we will have receipt of legal advice and a discussion incident pertaining to pending contractual negotiation regarding Hope City Charter School application, followed by student appeals, student admission request into the district's adult education program, employment recommendations, and certified releases. Personnel matter regarding superintendent's progress report and release to public session at 6:30 p.m. We will then have our inspirational moment and pledge of allegiance, then move to the consent agenda, which will include approval of the consent agenda, approval of minutes from previous meetings, approval of diploma petition, and classified employment releases and in-district transfers. We'll then have our public participation, followed by voting on executive session items. Student appeals, student admission request into the district's adult education program, employment recommendations and certified releases, and any as-needed items that were discussed in executive session. We'll then move to new business action requested, The board will vote on the Hope City Charter School application, followed by new business, no action requested. You'll receive the pupil services report on the district's alternative program. Then we'll have a review of the next draft agenda for the April 22nd, 2025 regularly scheduled board meeting, followed by our if needed items of public participation, executive session, voting on executive session items, and then conclude with board and superintendent comments and adjournment.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Board members, are there any revisions or additions you would like to see made to the next meeting agenda or to a future agenda? Seeing none, we will now move to item 17.0, board and superintendent comments. I will start with Mr. Dennis. No one signed up. Oh. Did she? Okay, well, we'll just have her come on up. Thank you so much. I was getting ready to rock and roll. Thank you guys so much. I didn't have you on my list. I do apologize for that. If you would, just give your name and just know, let me just read this information before you speak, okay? I do apologize for that. Before we begin, I will remind you, and remind myself to put my glasses on, that our meetings are streamed live and recorded. According to policy BEDH, comments from the public should not include gossip, defamatory words, or abusive language. The policy also prohibits in public session any expression of personal complaints about individual school personnel or any other person connected with the school system. Specific student or personnel issues should be handled through the appropriate procedure as indicated in the district policy. Questions asked during public participation typically will be referred to a staff member for a response at a later time. You may now introduce yourself and speak. You will have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Max Whitener, and I wanted to speak on the budget. I didn't get to be here in time because I had CPA. I'm a student at Blythewood High School, and I wanted to share some hopes of an overhaul of some of our band's percussion equipment. This is my 3rd year as a percussionist, and I participated in marching band, concert band, percussion ensemble, steel band, and West African ensemble. Our equipment is really good, but it's starting to show its age. Most of our keyboards are over 20 years old. These keyboards are played on all day, every day, and have been since the opening of our school 20 years ago. On some, the height can't be adjusted anymore or won't keep the height it's adjusted at. Some parts have been bent the way they're not supposed to. While we're very fortunate to have all these keyboards, replacements need to be made sooner rather than later. An overhaul of our keyboards, according to my director, would be about $50,000 to $70,000. That's for all keyboards, though. This is something Blythewood has been asking for a while now, and we need it more than ever. This could also help other schools in our district because we can send our old keyboards that are still in decent shape to middle schools that don't have a keyboard at all to play with. I think Blythewood should get this overhaul because we are the only school in our district that competes at 6A state championships during marching season. And this year we had 26 percussionists playing on our equipment. And sometimes we wouldn't have enough equipment for them to play on during class. We have really good directors, talented players, and a great program, and I think our equipment should reflect that. We cannot reasonably fundraise enough money to replace the deteriorating percussion equipment. We do where we can, but keyboards are just too expensive. There's only one part of our band program that's lacking in funds, so please consider giving us the funds to replace these keyboards and send the old ones to schools that don't have any. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your patience sitting here all night to speak. So proud of you. Thank you so much for that. Now we will move to board and superintendent comments, and I will go back to Mr. Dennis. We'll start with you.
All right, so real quick, everybody knows I love sports, but however, this past weekend, I got to go down to the Metropolitan Center, and I got to support 8 of our students here in the district. They competed in the South Carolina Scholastic Chess Championship. While we didn't bring home any trophies, it was still great to see those kids out there getting the job done. Great job on them. Budget season, glad everybody's coming out speaking on that. Definitely want to hear more. I also got to go to an event last week, the Sold On To event. I got to pull double duty as a board member and as a realtor, so that was really great, getting to showcase the great things that we got going on in this district to realtors, so the realtors can get that out to people that's looking to buy houses and things like that. But the great thing is it also showcases to our community. So there's some great things out there that we have on our website that you guys in the community can look at, and it kind of breaks it down in a very centralized area. So thank you for that. And then I also got to go to the Anne Frank traveling exhibit at Spring Valley High School. Let me tell you, that was something, that was a truly wonderful event. I'm glad I got to experience that. My tour guide had a little tougher group because they literally had the rabbi and I was the only non-Jewish person there in my group. So great on that. Other than that, the only thing I want to say is thank you all the teachers, all the support staff, the administration, the community. Thank you for everything you do for R2. It's you all that actually make this happen. And it's up to each and every one of us to come together as a community and get the things that we need done. So thank you all very much for that. And to close this out, it is Women's History Month. And, a little story, growing up in North Carolina, I loved ice cream. And growing up, we used to make ice cream in a little hand churn. And for those of y'all that did not know, the first hand crank ice cream machine was invented in 1843 by Nancy Johnson. So that's just a little tidbit of information. And that's all I got. Thank y'all, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Nash.
I'm going to keep it very brief because you guys have been here a very long time, and I'm sorry. So I just want to say thank you to all the principals who came out. You guys did a wonderful job. Thank you to everybody who came out for budget season. Sold On To was amazing. The website is awesome. I already heard a lot of people talking about it. And with that, I'm going to say have a great night. You'll get more from me next time, but even then it'll be really fast. Have a great night, y'all.
Mr. Trapp.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Couple of things I just really like to mention that struck me tonight. First off, we had a lot of people here during our budget input about talking about libraries and stuff, and I just really want to encourage everyone to read, for our children to read. I wish I had read more when I was younger, and I didn't, and that has really affected my ability to learn and do things as an adult. So please read to your children, help them to read. Also, I want to thank the principals that were here tonight. Really, I know you guys are busy, more busier than me. I'm self-employed. I can sleep late in the morning if I want to. So we appreciate y'all coming out. I went to an event last week. It's the Power Forward program. It's the end of the year celebration at the Darla Moore School of Business. It's an opportunity for some of our students to go, and to me, it's just a fantastic opportunity for them to experience some of the things that college is about. To help them decide if they want to go to college, where they want to go to college, and I really appreciate the university and the Darla Moore School of Business for doing this. But the highlight of the evening, and I've been driving my wife crazy with this book for the last week, but was me getting an autographed copy of Mama Rock's Rules. This is Chris Rock's mother, although I'll have to say I think she's more famous than him now, for me at least. But this has just been a great book. And if I could endorse this big book, and please, every parent in Richland 2 needs this book. It is so full of good stuff. I want to read you just one couple of sentences here. And this is my whole motto in life. This is talking about homework. She says, do what you dread and get ahead. Stress this to your children. Do the hardest thing first. This approach to homework will help them in everything they do in life. Let them do what they dread most right off the bat. That's the way I look at life. I always eat what I like the least first. Whatever's hardest to do on the job, I get it done first so that the rest of the day will go a little smoother. That's just good advice, and the book has chapters on everything. It's great. You'll hear more later, I'm sure.
Okay, Ms. Williams.
No, I got a couple. Oh, no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm still rolling. Hold on just a second.
Wait, I'm gonna have to set the time on board members. No, go ahead, Mr. Trapp.
Oh.
I'd love to hear from you. Go ahead.
We're elected officials. We can't have time set on us. Okay, I'll be quick though. No, I did get to go to the Anne Frank traveling exhibit at Spring Valley High School last week. And, you know, that is such a sobering thing to experience. And I did have some things happen there that kind of struck me. My tour guide, and I want to stress that I'm very impressed with these students, that they're taking an interest in history and stuff, and that they're taking, I mean, they're very excited to giving us this tour. But during the tour, we were looking at some photos, and one of them was the Nazis burning books, and this is what was said by my tour guide. Said, "This is a picture of the Nazis burning books. It's kind of like what they're doing in Florida right now." I didn't know what I wanted to say. I wanted to correct them and share with them that I didn't think that was the right thing, but I dare want to interfere with their enthusiasm. I want them to. I don't want to in any way diminish their event that evening. But that really, I found that very disappointing, because we should never, ever compare our elected officials or government personnel to Nazis. There's just no comparison. Now, I would like to end on a positive note, though. A couple of weeks ago, we had a budget input, and they revealed that if you get an education tag, some of that money goes to our schools. And yes, is a picture, it's not the tag. The tag's on the truck. I would have brought it in, but I overkill everything, and I installed it with the locking nuts and everything so it won't come off. But anyway, I would encourage everybody, hey, get your education. Public education, a great investment. That's what we're all here for. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Trapp. Now I will go to Ms. Williams.
All right, I'm gonna keep it short. Again, congratulations to all the students and coaches. Again, thank you for everyone that came out for budget season. Thank you to Ms. Janelle Butler for being able to give our mindful moment this afternoon. Again, thank you to the principals, and I had the opportunity of attending the Pathways to Promotion, an amazing hidden treasure that gives our students a second chance and being able to get mentors. So I encourage anybody who needs a second chance in their education to be able to explore that system if possible. Again, thank you to everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you, Mrs. Washington.
Mr. Trapp, I was going to say, preach. That's what they say in church, to tell you to keep going. I will say I went to visit Bethel Hanbury, and it was just so nostalgic. I met Mr. Griffin, who was a custodian there when Bethel Hanbury was 2 campuses on that one site. And he and I laughed because he talked about how Ms. Chisholm would walk in the cafeteria and do this, and everybody knew what that meant. So it was just good to have that conversation. Ridgeview, thank you all so much for your SIC hosting a great community event with all of the stakeholders talking about critical conversations that are happening in our community. And then also to communications, thank y'all for sharing the athletic calendar, because following all of the teams on Twitter and trying to figure out which games you want to go to, you made it a lot easier. And I want to wrap up by saying, in the words of Dr. Stephen Peters, I want to encourage everyone to be faithful to the work and honor the work that we're doing here in Richland too. Thank you.
Mrs. Porter, did I get you, Mr. Dennis? I did get you, right. Okay. Mrs. Porter?
Thank you. Ms. Washington, Ms. Chisholm did that same thing at Summit Parkway Middle. She was right in the middle of the gym, and it worked every time. Congratulations to all of our students today that received recognition and awards. I also wanted to highlight our docents at the Anne Frank Traveling Museum. They did a phenomenal job, and I wanted to speak specifically about Ethan. I believe that's the student's name, but I believe he initiated this, and Ethan got his friends to support him and become docents for his community and outside of the school as well. And those students volunteered after school to give us those tours, and they supported their friend. and became experts. And it was quite a few of them. And they continued to give those tours throughout the school day during lunchtime for their peers. And I just thought that was phenomenal. And how serious each of them took their role, it was a treat. Also, this past weekend, I went to the COSBA conference, and I just want to share with my colleagues just a few tidbits. I'm not going to share on everything that I went to, but I focused on finance this weekend, because no matter how much I try to immerse myself, I still find it very challenging. School finance is a whole nother world. And so there were a session that I went to that talked about what to ask and know about funding for school board members specifically. And just some ideas that were shared with us was to request to review the operating budget. And that would be an area where board members can focus to help find funds, and also request a separate budget for SPED. And before you dive into SPED policy work and so forth. Also, I learned about the reserve and fund balance, and a little bit more about how we can break that down in planning, and in the way that, in the questions that we ask, so that we can be prepared from 5 years in the future, and how important that was, and how we should be at the point where we can estimate and what plans to go into the reserves every 5 years, or what it looks like in 5 years. I also went to an interesting session about AI, and about not creating all new policies for AI, but actually how you can make edits to your existing policy for AI, and I got a lot of great ideas about that. I was focused on funding and also policy work, as I look forward to doing more policy work with my colleagues. And then I think I'm going to stop there. Yeah, I could go on, but it was a really good conference, and I learned a lot. And please feel free to give me a call, and I can share more resources with you. Have a good night.
Dr. Moore.
Thank you. So as you know, we have been instituting Free to Focus. So I just want to give the board a quick update and encourage our parents to listen to the podcast that we just recorded with our students. It is an update on the 3-month policy, and while the policy as a whole is making improvements, and students talked about having more time to talk to each other, being more engaged, going back to old school games in the cafeteria, they still would like to see some changes to the policy. And we talked about how you properly advocate. So please check out the podcast. Also, I attended Power Forward with Mr. Trapp, but I'm not going to talk about it since he already did. But I do want to thank him and Mr. Dennis for showing up and being a part of this process with our students. I have some congratulations on School Counselor of the Year. So we are proud to announce that Richland Northeast High School has earned the recognized ASCA Model Program, also known as RAMP, designation. This is a national honor that recognizes schools that deliver a data-driven school counseling program aligned with ASCA's national model. So Richland Northeast High School will be celebrated at the American School Counselor Association's 2025 annual conference on Monday, July 14th in Long Beach, California. This year, 190 schools across 29 states have received this distinction, but we just want to highlight our Cavaliers for their outstanding work. Also, I had the privilege, and Ms. Nash gave me some coaching on this, to serve as a judge for the Miss Ridgeview High School pageant. It was a wonderful event that showcased confidence and talent of our students. And I just want to say a huge congratulations to the young ladies who participated. Their beauty, poise, grace, and brilliance was awe-inspiring. We have a South Carolina School Nurse of the Year. So a huge congratulations to Karen Lobitz, South Carolina School Nurse of the Year. With over 19 years of experience, Karen is a leader in school nursing and tirelessly advocates for student health. Her dedication extends beyond the school walls, where she collaborates with Healthy Learners and the Children's Dental Clinic to provide free health services for underinsured students. She assists with new nurses in managing the health room and evaluating students daily with various health conditions, and supporting her colleagues in problem solving and advocating for their students' health care. Her expertise, compassion, and commitment make her an invaluable asset to our district. She is purpose-driven, making a safe and healthy pathway for all of our students to be future-ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. And I'll be brief as well. Just want to say congratulations to all of the students today who were recognized for their talent and their academics as well. And thank you also to the principals who got up and were brave enough to share all of the new initiatives that you're actually taking place in your school, and you're doing a wonderful job. So I want to say thank you so much for that. I also want to say thank you to Dr. Beverly Manigault, who gave me the opportunity to be the speaker at the Pathways to Promotion mentor program. And again, I think Ms. Williams mentioned about giving students a second chance. So I was so excited to be a part of that because they also partnered with Journeys Church. So I was so happy to be a part of that. I want to say congratulations to Jaden Wilson. Jaden Wilson is a sophomore at Westwood High School, and he set a new record for the 100-meter dash. So kudos and congratulations to Jaden Wilson of Westwood High School. And then today was such a marvelous day. And I thought about the news media. They're always trying to showcase the negative things in school, but I wish they had been at Summit Parkway Middle School today. Had the opportunity also, along with Dr. Sabrina Suber and Mr. Cleve Smith, and I think I'm missing Barbara Turner and Mrs. Porter, to participate in the School to Watch. Summit Parkway Middle School was one of the schools that's recognized as a School to Watch school. And just if you're not aware of what it takes, I'll just share a little bit. School to Watch is a School to Watch program that focuses on academic excellence, social equality, developmental response, and organizational structure for learners. A national initiative by the National Forum to accelerate middle grades reform that identifies and recognizes high-performing schools. So again, congratulations to Summit Parkway Middle School as a School to Watch. So proud of them. Just wish it would have been recognized a little more. So let's just give April Shell and Summit Parkway Middle School, because this is a national award that, as I stated in my speech today, that many dream of and wish they could be a part of. And Summit Parkway Middle School has had the opportunity to be a part of that. So thank you so much for your time and attention. With that, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mrs. Washington?
I move to adjourn the March 25th, 2025 regular board meeting.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Washington. Is there a second?
Second.
Look at all that. You get so many seconds on that. The motion has been made by Mrs. Washington and seconded by Mr. Trapp. Is there any discussion? Board members, any discussion? Seeing none, we can do a hand vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. 7 yes, 0 no. The motion passes. The meeting stands adjourned.